As of March 16, 2026, I think I could comfortably say that the Premier League is pretty much wrapped up. Make sure to like and subscribe, and let's get straight into it because this was a huge weekend for Arsenal, for City. Arsenal played Everton first, then City played West Ham. And these are always tough games. I don't care. You can look at the table and see wherever Everton and West Ham are. They are always tough games. West Ham is battling relegation. Everton has players that always show up against the big six because they want that move. You know, you could look at Shrewsbury Hall. You could look at Iliman Njai. These are players that always perform well. And then you look at the importance of if Arsenal wins and City loses, if City wins and Arsenal loses. It's always a huge games when it comes to these weekends where they play on the same day, back to back. You never know what's gonna happen. But like I've said, every week and every time City go on a little run, I don't see City going on some crazy run like they used to. They used to go on 12, 15 game runs at the end of the season and win the league. They're not going to do that. They won't do that. There's like 8 or 9 games left in the season. And City just keep dropping points. I've said this multiple times. They went on like a 3 game, like a 5 game stretch, like all comp, right? But when it comes to the Premier League, they just something isn't there. There's something isn't there with this team, whether it's experience. I personally think it's quality. You look at some of the players that they were not going to score you goals, and throughout the entire season, their goals was very high. That's what was getting them through games, right? They would concede two but score five, right? But when you lose Haaland scoring goals, this 2026 has been terrible from Haaland. You lose Haaland scoring, that's 70% of City's goals because Doku isn't scoring, Savinho isn't scoring, Foden is not going to score you 8 to 15 goals. Turkey is playing, is been in and out. Semenyo came in, but he's not scoring the same goals either. Marmoush is the one that's been saving them here and there. But you lose Haaland, that's 70% of City's goal scoring, and he's not in the best of form, so they're not going to score any goals. And then when it comes to the defense, they're not good in defense. I know they signed Mark Gahey. I know that I know Kuzanov has been very good. I like Kuzanov. But he's been playing Ruben Diaz. He's been swapping in A Nuri. He put O'Reilly at left back, and then he took out Nunez. He's been moving Nunez in and out. It's so the defense to me is what told me that they're not gonna do much this Premier League. They concede so much, and then you expect Haaland to score 2 goals every game because he scores almost all the goals for City. I think it was it was a ticking time bomb, right? Because they've dropped points for the last couple of games in the Prem, but people don't like Arsenal, right? Like we don't, none of us like Arsenal fans, but when it comes to the club, there's some players in there that I really enjoy watching, and one of them has been Declan Rice. One of them has been Zubimendi. Their defense, I'm a big fan of their defense. I like Nkapie. I wanted him at Madrid, but Arsenal took him. I'm not the biggest fan of Arsenal's attack, but I just like Arsenal as a whole. I think in general, I watch him play, and it's pretty boring. Don't get me wrong, but I would rather at this point have Arsenal win it. And the thing that pushed me over the line to want Arsenal winning is when Real Madrid got Man City in the quarter in the round of 16. Right, everyone was talking so much, talking crazy about this Man City team. When we got City from the round of 16, and teams, people were talking crazy about the City team that they're gonna brush through us, that they're gonna brush through Arsenal, that there's some crazy City team, and this really pushed me over the line to wish Arsenal the best in the Premier League because the way they were talking about City just annoyed me. It got me mad because you guys don't understand. You guys just hate Arsenal so much that you think City's gonna brush through the Prem and brush through Real Madrid. This is when I really saw. You know what? I hope Arsenal win. I hope they win it convincingly because these fans, these Man City Glazers, got me pretty annoyed with the way they talked about it. So when we beat them 3-0, I was very happy. And then when they dropped points this weekend, I was very happy as well because these Man City fans, you could say, because they watch him sometimes only when they're trying to beat Arsenal to the league. These Man City fans always want City to go on some crazy runs. They expect them to win every game because they have some crazy aura, and I just don't see it this year. Even in multiple times, we've beaten a prime City. We've knocked them out the Champions League, or like over the past 2, 3 times. But people were just like putting Man City at this other pedestal, like there's some crazy Champions League team. In the Prem, they've done their job, right? But then you look at some of the players they're missing. They don't have a Gundogan anymore. They don't have John Stones is in and out. Um, Kevin De Bruyne isn't there no more. You have Jeremy Doku and Savinho, who's probably had like 3 goals in the last 2 years combined. And I just don't see it. But people always if Arsenal, since Arsenal is in the league, they like pushing City to another pedestal. And then when they pushed City to that pedestal, and we got them in the round of 16, and people started talking crazy, that's what pushed me to go for Arsenal. Right, I want Arsenal to win it. I really do, because those Man City fans got me annoyed. So I think we brush them again at the Etihad. I think if they score one, we'll probably score another two. I don't trust City that much, even at the Etihad. I don't think they've been at their best there. They've dropped points multiple times there. And with us, they're gonna try and press us. They're gonna try and go all attack. And when you press us and you leave us spacing behind, that's our go-to. That's like where we play our best football. But back to the Premier League, Arsenal, Everton. Max Dowman comes on, and this I want to give Mikel Arteta a lot of praise, right? Because for the entire season and for the past 4 years, I've said that Mikel Arteta doesn't like putting in that risk to win. They don't like he doesn't like taking that risk and pushing his tactics a bit up and just go win the game, right? But when he took out Martin Zubimendi and put in 16-year-old Max Dowman for the game, I think it was such a risk to take for Marteta, and it paid off. He was involved in the first goal for Victor Gyökeres. He was involved in the second. He scored the second goal, and I think this is one of those moments where you see, oh, okay, this he took the risk, he got the win, and he got the reward out of it. I think they're now 10 points, no, 9 points. With yes, City have a game in hand, and they still need to face each other. But I think this was one of those moments when you're like, okay, Arsenal are right there. And the thing that sealed it all for me was Man City dropping points to West Ham. And it wasn't just that they dropped points, because anyone could drop points to a West Ham that's battling relegation. But you just don't. When you watch City, you don't see them create 10 chances. You don't watch them be in their. You don't watch their defense be so solid. It's one of those things when you watch City where you think that De Bruyne's gonna come out of nowhere and score, put in some couple through passes and see them score. Right, Turkey has been getting a lot of praise, but I think he hasn't gotten an assist in a minute. And every time he comes on, I think you noticed it with like the Manchester United players. They come on and they want to impact the game. Tricky comes on like almost mad and doesn't really try to do much when it comes to them winning the game. And I just don't see it in the City team. I just don't see it. I've said it since the start of the season. And then I got a little bit towards them, right? Because Arsenal dropped a couple points here and there for a couple of weeks, and City won a couple of games. And then I was like, maybe we could get. But even in those videos, I said I just don't see this City team going on a 5 game run. I don't see them going on a 4 game run in the Prem. I just can't see them winning 4 games or 5 games in a row. And to win the league, you have to do that over the course of some different points in the season. And I just don't see it with the City team. And I want to give, like I said, big props to Arsenal, big props to Mikel Arteta for taking that risk against Everton. Victor Gyökeres has been getting a lot of criticism that I kind of swayed towards his side a little bit, because the amount of criticism Gyökeres gets is crazy sometimes. Because just because if he wasn't playing at Arsenal, he wouldn't be getting this type of criticism. But he is at Arsenal, and yes, he's not the best. I was the first one to say it. He's not the best. Technically, he looks like he has like the reference that used like he looks like he has some boots on. He runs with some boots on, but I think he gets too much criticism just because he's an Arsenal striker. And if he wins the league, he scored the first one against Everton. I know they will probably remember more of the Max Dowman like impact on the game, but Victor Gyökeres scored in one of the biggest games of the season when it comes to going against Everton, winning last minute goal. They would have won it with that goal, right? And then you see Max Dowman come on, take in a couple players and run towards the goal. And I think Max Dowman has that quality that they were missing. He has that talent aura, I guess you could say, right? He's very good, very technically gifted. He's very good on the ball, and he has that confidence, that young player spirit, where he's just down to ask for the ball, take a player on, put the ball in the box. And sometimes Arsenal have been missing that. I think Saka's been pretty annoying to watch this season with that. Even like Trossard and Martinelli and these players, they don't have this quality that Max Dowman has showed with his little stints, right? And I think when he came on, he was electric. He was on it. He was the most dangerous attacker. Yes, a 16-year-old Max Dowman was the most dangerous attacker for Arsenal. And I think Arteta taking that risk was heavy and important. Everyone, including myself, have criticized him for not taking that risk, for not going to win the game, for not taking out a defensive player to put in an attacker to win the game. But that's exactly what he did. and he's reaping the rewards of it. City on the other side, Pep. It kind of annoys me that Pep doesn't get as much criticism because if it was any other manager, I know he's won the Prems, I know he has the titles, I know he has the dominance, I know he has his era. But when a manager is 2 years ongoing with how bad they've been performing, with the inconsistency in the team, it's just, there's a lot of the same players. He dropped Nico Gonzalez, who I think was one of their better players in that little run they had. He was one of their more consistent players, and they were winning those games. And then he takes him off. When Rodri comes in, like I've said, Rodri he's not the same physically, defensively. When it comes to covering ground, he's not the same. Maybe technically he's pretty good, right? He's still up there. He's still an amazing player technically, but the physical aspect of it, he's not there anymore. And yeah, I think Guardiola chopping and changing and doing this and that has affected the team in a negative way. Playing Jeremy Doku and Savinho against Savio. Let's not call him Savinho anymore. He's Savio. Playing them against Real Madrid, he hasn't played them the entire season. It's crazy. And then moving it back in the weekend to Marmoush and Haaland on top. But I just don't see it with them. I think Arsenal have have almost crossed the line. I think they're right there. They're right there. I think it would be huge for them to go to the Etihad and win and tie or just win, right? If they go to the Etihad and win, it's wraps. It's done. Because Arsenal could still drop a couple points here and there. But I don't think City will be there to take advantage of those points. Arsenal can still go to Etihad and take away points from them there. They still have to play each other in the final. And Man City might lose that too. The way City look right now, the way their mentality, the press they have, the weak defense they have, they could go and lose there, and then they could lose the Prem, and then they would go trophyless for second season in a row. And look, I wanted them to do good when they went on a little run because I'm not the biggest fan of Arsenal fans, right? I don't really like Arsenal fans. But the way they talked about City, the way that the disrespect to my team, Real Madrid, when we got City in the round of 16, just pushed me to go wish Arsenal the best to win the Premier League. It was so annoying, right? We get City in the round of 16, and all those City fans saying they're going to destroy us. In that moment specifically, I was hoping Arsenal win the Prem because these City fans are too cocky. These City fans think too much of themselves. And right when they were talking smack about my team, I was Real Madrid. When they were talking bad about Real Madrid, when these City fans were talking bad about Real Madrid, I really hoped that Arsenal win the Premier League. So I'm rooting for them, and I'm happy. This was a good weekend for them. I was happy that they got the win, and I was happy that City dropped points. And I think this is pretty much almost sealed up for Arsenal. And they've deserved it. It's been a very good season from them. Defensively, Gabriel Saliba. I think Saliba has been amazing, but Gabriel has the goals. Hincapié. It's crazy to me that no one's talked about Hincapié. Miles Lewis Kelly won it on a 6 month stretch last season, right? A very good. I like Miles Lewis Kelly. But Hincapié has been outstanding this season. But no one talks about him because he's not English, right? Hincapié is so electric. He's so strong physically, defensively. He has a very good cross on him. And it's crazy to me that people haven't talked about Hincapié like they did Miles Lewis Kelly last season, right? Because if Hincapié was English, they would be talking about him crazy, right? But he's not. But he's had an amazing impact on this team. I think Calafiori has been in and out. I think Arteta really loves Hincapié. I think he loves how defensively solid it is, and I think he likes how attacking electric he is. He's not as technically gifted as Calafiori, but when it comes to having that dog, when it comes to being electric, when it comes to having that good cross and that defensive solidarity, Hincapié has that everything for them. And yeah, again, I think it's pretty much sealed. Premier League title race. I genuinely don't want a title race no more. City fans made me mad. They annoyed me. City fans thought they were some crazy team right now when they started talking about my team, about Real Madrid. So I hope Arsenal win it, and congrats to Arsenal because I think it's pretty much wrapped up. Yeah, peace.